Hey, what's up, y'all? This episode, well, it's not even an episode. We doing Dooley Harris Presents right now. I got a special guest, fellow podcaster, KAWAME Saladine. He does File 13, Unsolved Murders in Black America, which I think is an interesting, awesome topic. What's more captivating is the trailer is just amazing. Like it's like one of those things like, oh wow. Um, I'm gonna let him start off about how he came up with the idea and then how we started to get it into a concept and then into a podcast.
Okay, well, thanks for having me.
Thank
Uh,
you for being here as well.
so the way that it got started is I'm a true crime junkie. I'm a fan of true crime TV, First 48, different stuff like that. But I also like to listen to true crime podcasts. I got a few of my favorite that I like to listen to. And so one day I had posted on social media, I was like, man, I should do a true crime podcast dedicated for Black America. And I was just throwing it out there. And people was like, you should. I'm just like, okay. Because I chose Unsolved Murders for Black America because the murders in Black America are least likely to get solved.
It's
They
all we're
they're the most
going in depth to, and
they're the
it
most
takes a lot to get people the process rolling with that. I'm sorry, go ahead.
right. They're the most unsolved cases, and there's different various reasons on why they go unsolved. Point out a few. There is systemic racism when it comes to even when you listen to some of the stories this season on season one, you'll hear some of that on what's going on with how they treat Black victims. Then also the stigma of not speaking up in our own community when stuff. So there's a lot of cold cases that are sitting there that's happening because won't nobody say anything, you know. And I know we have this no snitch policy,
I was just about to say that's that's one major thing too.
but for me, when it comes to certain aspects, when it comes to like children, when it comes to certain things, it's just that to me that it doesn't apply. The no snitch clause just doesn't apply when it comes to like innocent children and young girls and young kids and things like that. It should just be, as far as I'm concerned, and I know this is kind of veering off. If you a person that's committed a crime with another person, then that I guess you could
And that
say
would be
that
considered
umbrella
snitching. But
that would be
if
considered snitching.
yeah, but if you're a what do you call it, a civilian going to paying your taxes, going to work every day, and then something happens, and you might happen to be like, well, I have to, make a report and stuff like that. I mean,
Right. Yeah,
and that's
especially if it's happening in your community, in your neighborhood, you want it to be safe. That doesn't apply to you. So, but that's a great reason. One of the reasons why um, the murders in Black America go unsolved for so long, and we have, you know, so many cold cases. And then I chose the euphemism file 13 because that's symbolic of the trash can. That's what we say. Oh, we put that in file 13, meaning it's a trash can. So cases be sitting so long that they they just get forgotten about or they can't do anything with it. So it just basically goes into a symbolic trash can. So I that's why I decided to name it file 13. And it's gonna be a series because I was talking to um some of my team that helps with editing and research and fact checking and stuff like that. And they're all women, and they were like, we would like to do one on missing Black women and missing Indigenous women. So I'm like, that's a good idea. And I was like, well, do y'all want to host that? Y'all could host that. So we're gonna do basically a file 13 is thing but it's gonna be a series. So this would be like missing women in color. So it'll be file 13 missing women in color. So it'd be a part of a series. So I
absolutely.
have yeah, so I have the unsolved murders in Black America, then we'll have missing women in color. We might come up with something else. Who knows? We might want to do file 13 uh the litigations of criminal acts of rappers and stuff like that. We might just focus on all rappers and stuff like that. It might just be, we could come up
The
pretty much
possibilities are
whatever.
endless though. That's what I see in there. I mean,
Yep,
And
and it'll
then
all be part of the File 13 family.
and then stuff being pushed under the rug. I could see that being a file 13
Yeah, yeah,
with like
because
with celebrities and stuff like that. I mean,
missing Black women and Indigenous women really go unreported. They don't make a big fuss about it. They don't really put it out like that, like it's a Natalie Holloway or anything like that. So, I was on board. They was talking to me about it last night. I'm like, absolutely, you can do that, absolutely.
and I'm
So
glad you
I'm
bring that to a point. Natalie what was her name? Was that Aruba?
Natalie Holloway, yeah.
And they pushed that. They pushed it till the wheels fell off.
Oh yeah.
They really
You'll
pushed that.
you'll hear in one of my cases, as a matter of fact, it's the very first episode for the season, which drops March 11th. So it drops March 11th on a Saturday. Um, but after that, every following Wednesday, a new episode will drop. So as I'm recording them, I'm putting them in there and I'm queuing them up. So they're already just sitting there waiting to the time that I preset on it. So as soon as they hit that, it just drops. I could be asleep and the episode would just drop. So that's how I'm getting it all set up.
And I'm learning. Like I told you last night, everything I'm taking it as a sponge because if I would have done that, my life the way it is set up and everything, I wouldn't have to worry
Mhm.
about anything. You know what I'm saying? Like I just know it's just going because I see now that you mentioned it, you can set things on a timer when you want it to go and when you want it to drop and stuff like
And
that.
we wanted to drop. Yep. So like right now, all of the episodes haven't been recorded yet. So like as to tonight, we were supposed to record an episode because my wife is my co-host, because she's a big true crime fan. So we kind of do this together. Um, we've probably re-recorded. It's only 8 episodes for this season, but we've recorded maybe 3 or 4 of them, and we still got a few more to go. But those are already queued up. You know, I I'm a perfectionist, so I kind of double back and check the script, make sure everything says what I want it to say as I'm going through it and stuff like that. So, but what's cool about it is my co-host, my wife, she don't know nothing about the cases. So as I'm going through it, as you're listening, this is her first time hearing them.
So
So
you
you're
get a
getting
different reaction.
you get a genuine reaction
Yeah,
to what's happening or what's going on in the story. Now, some of the stories she may have heard from the news and stuff like that, but we kind of go very in deep, intricate, and very deep. So some of my cases, I just got different kind of cases. Some cases are very old, some are more recent. I have a case from the 1950s. You know, so
okay. And with your researchers and everything, where do they find these cases? Where do you even start to even look at things like that?
thank God for the internet.
Absolutely.
We do have that, Freedom of Information Act. So we kind of look up, we kind of decide, what case we want to work on, and is there enough information to do a full episode. But even with that being said, I plan on doing mini episodes where it may not be a lot of information, but it might be something I want to drop, and I might do visuals like a because this podcast is an audio, but you can do visual podcasting with it. So I may do that as well. I set aside a budget for the team and told them, sometimes some of the cases might require us to get a police report. And even though it's under freedom of information, it might cost to do that.
Mhm.
But some of the cases, I talk directly to the victims' families. I talk directly to the detectives who's worked that case, who worked the case and stuff like that. So a lot of the information I'm getting firsthand. So everything that we present is either is factual. But if it's something that's speculative, of course I'll say that. Or if I say that I'm not 100% sure, I'll always say that in there, or I'll go according to. But I also provide my sources. So anything information I'm getting, I may say according to NBC News, an article written by so and so, so and so. That way, it goes that way. So we
Absolutely. And I had a question. I'm sorry. How susceptible are the families and the officers and stuff like that? Are they willing to? Well, I can understand if families want closure and things like that.
hmm
You never know who watches what, and
right.
podcasting is like golden now. You can come up and find almost anything connected to anything, but like
And
officers and
true and true crime podcasts consist that's about 60% of the podcasts. of the most successful, or true crime podcasts are typically the most successful podcasts out there. And so it's a really a big thing. It's so many out there, you know. So I kind of wanted to, you know, carve my own little niche, but at the same time do something that I actually love, and it's interesting. But to answer your questions, the family are very cooperative, but you do have to step into that very. You have to be very careful. So, for example, there's two cases that are local that I'm working on. And I know people who know the families. So I would request the introduction that way, and then I would talk directly to the family and let them know this is what I'm doing, this is who I am, this is what I'm doing, and this is what my goal is. You know, and I'll start communicating and talking with the family directly. And then as far as the law, so for these two particular cases, we're out of my hometown, Pontiac, right? So I actually had to go through chain of command. Well, and the detective was like, I don't mind talking to you, but you have to get it cleared by the Oakland County Sheriff. So I contacted them directly, and they was like, yeah, go ahead. Because some of these true crime podcasts are helping these police solve these crimes. So they want all the help they can get, especially if these are cold cases, you know, so they're pretty open to it, you know. But you do have to be you have to, you know, you are talking to victims' family, so you have to be a person that's very empathetic, you know, let them control the conversation, let them control, you know, you just have to be real sensitive about it and stuff like
Yeah, I
that.
mean,
So
I think that would be easy coming from our background, considering the things we've seen and stuff like, people having empathy, I would say. You know what I'm saying?
mhm.
That goes a long way though, honestly. And I feel like the families, they want the same thing. They want the case closed, solved, some closure. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they definitely want it solved. They want it, you know, because they're still looking for answers. I have one of the cases that I'm doing is 25 years old. It's a 25-year-old cold case, you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And that's the one where word got back around to me to stop it, to stop doing it, to
Oh
not do
yeah,
it.
we had that conversation. This is the meat right
Yeah,
here. This is the meat and the potatoes. Yeah,
yeah.
so um that absolutely tells you something. You on to something.
hmm it's crazy because in this particular case, I'm privy, as one of the detectives was telling me, he says you're privy to information that the general public don't even know at this point. It's like you're an investigative reporter. So I know what's going on. I know what the general public don't know at this point. So so I'm being real careful. And this particular episode I was going to do by myself. I have I've interviewed one of the detectives, but it was for a short time, and I interviewed the family. We actually all interviewed together. But then there's one more interview that I wanted to do with the detective alone, because I wanted to get the complete side from him, from when the call was made all the way up to where it got cold, where the case just went cold. You know what I mean? So, but because he's still an active detective and has his job to do, trying to catch up with them has been kind of difficult. Trying, because
Yeah,
we set up a
absolutely.
meeting, then we have to cancel. We set up a meeting, and then boom, somebody dies, and he has to investigate a murder, or somebody, you know, and
Absolutely.
stuff like that. So I just told him, you know, it's still open. It's still one of my cases, but I set it to the side and I replaced it with a new case. So, but it's still ongoing.
And,
But I
and
did. I
go
would
ahead.
say
I'm sorry.
I changed, and what I did is I changed because it. And I told them during an interview, I said, let me know if any of the questions that I ask may compromise the case, because I don't want the case compromised. I don't want um to reveal any information that no one is supposed to know, because sometimes this is how when they get tips from the community, how they know what's legit and what's not, because there's certain information that they never reveal that I'm actually privy to now. So when I do my presentation now and I do my podcast, I don't want to let that slip, you know. And that this particular one, I actually changed the names, because all the people, all the parties that's involved are still alive. They're still walking around.
Oh,
So I changed the names of everyone except for the victim family, and the detective, because I don't know who is who. I don't know if this person is actually the person who did it, if this person is a victim, if this person is a suspect. I don't know, because it's all based on the investigation. And obviously, if the police knew, they would have been made some arrests by now. So things is kind of, and not, let me tell you, this case has kidnapping. This case has torture. This case, and this
yeah.
case, has this person has never been found. That's the whole thing. It's not, and the person is considered dead now, but that's the thing. This person disappeared and hasn't been seen in 25 years. So, when word get back to me, oh, stop, do this. I'm looking like, first of all, I'm not scared of you. Second, if you don't want me to do it, get a family the body. That's the deal. If you don't want this to come out, give the family the body, and I won't release it. Because if I'm using aliases, the only people that who really knows who I'm talking about are the people that's actually involved. Now there might be
Absolutely.
some people, who know some people and stuff like that, so they can probably pick it up. But my thing is, okay, I just want to get a family closure. That's
But for
literally
you
all
to
I want to do.
incriminate yourself, to see like, look, you're doing too much right now. You ever heard the term "hit dogs holler"?
Yep. I just used that term to somebody the other day. I hit dog a holler.
Yeah. So I mean, it might be tough for them to stay in their skin, but making themselves look real less inconspicuous.
Right. And that's my thing. It's like you kind of exposing yourself. I'm not. If I do this episode and all the names are changed, nobody knows who you're talking about except the people who actually, knows, because they know who this person is as far as this case, so they actually know something. So I can change the names as much as I want. If somebody actually knows, they know. And I don't know if they're going to have a come to Jesus moment when they hear it and stuff like that. And that's what we're hoping for, because I can't guarantee that the episodes will solve the case, but we're hoping that somebody hear it and somebody knows something, and you can just slide it to us anonymously. If one of the if one of the killers is watching this, what I would say to them at this point right now is just give the family the body. You can give the information to me anonymously. This case went back to 1998. Give the information to somebody born in 1999 and they can slide it to me, because they won't incriminate them. They didn't
They weren't even
exist yet.
born. Like, yeah, they didn't. Yeah.
They didn't exist yet. So if you send it to them, they get it to me. We go get the body. Case is closed. You've already gotten away this far. I just want
But
to give the
and
family
that's
closure.
that's the thing, though. Do you think it would turn out that way? Because after you, there's going to be other people coattailing, like they want to dig deeper. We want to go. We want to get this and that. And
But see, I'm a man of my word. So if I say, I'm not going to, if I'm not going to press it any further, if I can get this woman some closure for her family, then my goal is accomplished.
yeah, but that's a double-edged sword too. Like, I ain't gonna get you, and I'm holding you to my word.
Right.
You
Because
know,
I'll leave it at there. I'll leave it there.
that's absolutely amazing, man. And as far as that's going, it seems like it might be picking up some steam with people and stuff. I mean, you're on different platforms and stuff like that too, as well.
Right. As far as where you can listen to the podcast.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh yeah, we are on Anchor, Spotify, Apple, iHeart, Pandora, Stitcher, Amazon, pretty much anywhere you can get podcasts is on it. As a matter of fact, before we started this meeting, I just got the notification that it was up on Google Podcasts. Because you got to go through these different steps and put your RSS code in there, and then they have to verify and do all this stuff like that. So yeah, it's on there. So, but some of the cases are historic. Some of the cases are heart wrenching. some of them just leave you. And I have an amazing team. They are awesome. They do a lot of my editing. Make sure because I'm doing my research and I'm typing and my stuff coming out like word vomit, so it might not make sense, but it makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I send it to them, and it's just like an English teacher, like, and they'll send
Well,
it back.
and that's good. They understand you.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Not to get off subject, but how do you go about building a proper team?
Um. So because all of us are actually doing this and for no money. It's just we all have the love and the passion for it. So that was prerequisite number one. Is like you really have to be um in it because you enjoy it and you want to, and it's something that you want to do. Um, when I had put that initial post out, people actually said that they were interested in doing it. So those are the ones that I reached out to, and some of them inboxed me even later on. It was like, hey, if you want any help, I'm here. So I gathered them all together, and you'll hear I'll shout all of them out uh, on each episode. So I have voice actors because we run ads. I created the ad trailers and the listener discretion, and then people who do fact checking, people who do the editing, people who help with the research and stuff like that. And they just have to be passionate. But I try to create an environment where this is secondary. I mean, it's something that we love, it's something that we want to do, but obviously your job, your family, and all that stuff comes first. So people were wondering why you have it so far out in March, but I started this stuff back in January, and I knew that people needed time to do other things, and they have their own family and stuff like that. So I may take something upon myself. Like I had assigned one case to someone, but she had just started a new job. Um, my one of my her name is Jessica. She just started a new job, so it was like, you know what? I'll take it. This is the case from 1982, the decapitation of little Jane Doe between an 8 and 11-year-old girl. She was kidnapped. They took her head off, drained her body of blood out in St. Louis. It's horrific. I didn't even want to do that case. I mean, I didn't even want to research the case myself. I was like, this is way too much. But I did
But I'm
eventually
saying,
do
like,
it.
what?
And I did eventually do it. And what's crazy is I actually taught one of the sources that I use is a documentary. And I actually just talked to the director of that documentary the other day. So I haven't recorded that episode yet, so I might actually try to get him on. But yeah, I talked directly to him. He hit me up. I was like, yeah, I directed this. I was like, I know. I said I used your documentary as a great resource. So yeah, so I'm making connections. I'm talking
Yeah,
to some people.
that's crazy, man. Hey, look, some people might see it the way like some people might see it. Like somebody said, like, yeah, so somebody gonna end up killing y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like in comments and stuff. But you have to. I understood directly what they meant, as in because when you
Is that in
see
the
that,
comment now?
it was in there last night.
Oh, you talking? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, yeah, I
Okay,
remember.
yeah, okay, but that part of when you see that yellow when I posted the yellow file 13 on in there, that automatically bring me to a certain place, a certain time in Ben Harbor when the big yellow sign was on the side of the building with all the unsolved murders on there.
Mhm.
That's where that took me to. Now that would be
Yeah,
something too close for comfort for me on my end.
right.
Because I mean, in that situation and being in that environment, somebody knows, everybody knows, yet it goes unsolved. That would be a situation I really wouldn't want to even push the issue against or anything like that.
Right. And I talked to my family and I talked to my team about that particular case. Like, and I told them up front, I said, even before, I said, this case itself is a little different. So when I do this one, I'm going to do the research myself. I'm going to do the podcast myself. I told my wife, I said, I don't even want you a part of this. I said, this is all me. So when I do this one, only voice they're going to hear is my voice. Nobody else is a part of this. So, you know, But I had that in my mind. I had that in mind, and I told them ahead of time. I said, if y'all don't want me, if y'all don't want to do it, we don't have to. We can step back. We can do something else, you know. But they was like, well, I mean, it's up to you. And me, I'm not scared. So, you know,
Yeah,
but again, but that one's more local. That one's more local.
yeah, and I mean, it's stuff that's going on like literally dang near every day locally. That's like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
But historically, like there's it's a lot. I know you've seen this when you do your research. It's a lot of things people skip over, don't see the light of day at all. You know what I'm
It's
saying?
true.
Like, and these people were someone's sister, someone's mama, somebody's brother, father. You know what I'm saying? Like grandfather and stuff like that. But it doesn't get the light of day.
And that's the angle that we paint. So when we go into it, and you'll hear when we're telling the story, when you hear me telling the story, you're going to be visualizing like this is this person. I'm talking about an actual human being, and this is what happened to them. This isn't just like something that you seeing on TNT or on TV and stuff like that. This actually happened. So I'm taking you through an intricate a day. So you'll be hearing me kind of like narrating, you know, just normal interactions, and then building up to the point to where this person was murdered, or this person body was found, or this person, you know, this is what happened and stuff like that. And so that's why I wanted my co-host to be completely oblivious to the stories, to be hearing them like right then and there, because I know my co-host will react the same way that,
A listener would
you know, a public
actually,
react.
yeah, yeah.
Yep.
And
And so
that's a. I'm sorry. Um, that's the thing too. That's very organic though too. I mean, because us with our partners and stuff, we sit there and we go over stuff. Somebody might know less about, like, say for watching a movie.
mhm.
Somebody might be more. Say if you've seen it before. Now you won't be. It won't phase you that much as a person sitting there like, oh, they finna. You know a part's coming up, and
Mhm.
you kind of squirm the first time you saw it, but you really know they're gonna be like, oh my god, they're gonna lose they
They're gonna
stuff.
lose it. Yep.
Yeah, and then
Yeah. So
that's the type of that's really organic. What I don't like, what I see when people do that, and they be like, oh my god, who is this? Michael Jackson? Reaction videos. Be like, you don't know who Michael Jackson is? Are you serious? I would thump somebody in their forehead. Like, don't how you do
look,
Michael who?
that's a
Yeah,
guilty pleasure of mine is reaction videos,
I
but
know
they
it's
do have to be
everybody's.
kind of organic. So when I'm watching like a cat that's 18, 19-year old listening to Scarface for the first time, I'm like, yeah, this is a real reaction because this is way before your time and stuff like that. So yeah, that's a little guilty pleasure of mine.
Well, yeah, and then like that too, like that's cool right there. Those reaction videos are cool. And then the other one is when older people start listening to it's the young and the old, not our age,
Yeah,
but it's the young and the old with the same reaction to Scarface. You love it.
yeah. Oh
And
yeah,
fun fact, Granny, she used to love Scarface, mind playing tricks on me, the Ghetto Boys.
really. And we
Yeah. And she said that really said a lot about a lot of things. And then I went back later and thought about it. Like he was talking about like living that life in the streets and church and stuff like that. Like, and people face this to this day, if you think about it. You know, like doing dirt, getting dirt.
hmm
But yeah, she like that. And also Sprinkle Me by E40.
before
So yeah. Hey, that's that holy water, I guess. I don't know, but you know, just throwing a little
right.
fun fact out there. But
So
yeah,
this is I'm excited for it. It's gonna be very interesting. It's gonna be very interesting. I want to have, as I said before, by the time the first episode airs, the entire season will be done. So all the episodes is just gonna drop, you know, that way, and then I let everybody go off, take some time, get their mind right, you
yeah.
know, because
Um,
everybody been kind of ingrained in researching and studying just different horrific crimes and stuff like that. So,
Absolutely. My thing, I do want to ask,
mhm.
I'm a YouTube fanatic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a very, I'm not, my wages are very meager. I don't have this, you know, all these type of platforms I listen to, but I understand that I
Mhm.
need to put my stuff there. But what I listen to is mainly YouTube, which I'm
Okay,
trying to get out of that. It's more accessible to me because that's what I know. That's what I know. Like YouTube was there before all this other stuff.
right.
So I'm actually trying to expand. But do you have a YouTube link that you can have for that as well?
For
File 30.
for File 13.
Yeah.
No, and it's funny because that's probably I'm gonna have one before the season starts. I'm gonna have
Okay.
one before the season start because I know YouTube is more visual, and because the podcast is the audio is really just listening. But the plan is to create um, visual shorts. What I was also considering doing is after on every Saturday. So when you have an episode that drops Wednesday, I
Hmm.
was thinking maybe the Saturday, give people a chance to listen to the episode, and then I'll go live or we'll do a visual podcast and we can discuss the episode. I can discuss the episode with my listeners. And if they have any questions and stuff like that, we can kind of talk about it. I was considering doing and, doing that to get them
Right.
involved.
And then just so you know, though, I mean, YouTube is very, very visual. But me personally, I'll put something in my ear just to listen to it, especially if I'm busy or laying down or something like that. I'll listen to certain
Hmm.
things too. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I just thought of the visual because it might bring some more to it. But
Yeah. Definitely gonna
va-
have a YouTube. Definitely gonna have a YouTube channel. Yeah, that's
vastly,
gonna happen.
vastly, most people that listen to me on my channel, they listen to it. They don't watch it.
Mm.
Wouldn't make a difference.
Really?
Yeah, so they listen to it. People listen to it, literally like listen. So all of this is kind of for nothing in case you up. Like I remember when I first started watching The Breakfast Club. I was like, oh, these visuals are nice. People actually listen to The Breakfast Club driving to work in the morning. You can't
That's
watch
you.
two things at
Yeah.
once. You see what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
That's usually how I listen to the Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
It was yeah, the radio.
So
Yeah,
with
that's
that
true.
concept, like it's a lot of things I jumped into. I didn't have no formal teaching or anything like that. So I'm learning as I go. And then when I see something that works, I see something that works for somebody else. So I mean, I emulate, but also give credit though too as well.
Mm.
Hint,
And yeah, I'm
hint.
such a perfectionist. So when I go visual, I want to make sure everything is like right, for me. I don't even know what that means yet. That's the crazy part.
No, the crazy part is you was like, I saw it in your face. My file 13 was backwards. Your file 13 was right. I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna do this no justice. Let me just go ahead and take this shit down, and we gonna rock like how we've been rocking. Because if it ain't right, I can't do it either, man.
No, look, look, you had it right. It was
Yeah,
just
it was
glitching.
right. It was glitching. At first, it was glitching. Then the lighting and all that. I think I got to put it in the dryer and get the wrinkles out of it or whatever. But I
Mm.
mean, but you know what though? The show had to go on though. Absolutely.
So, yeah. So the show must go on. So we got some cases. Actually the very first case was a 1951 case about Harry and Harriet Moore. These are the first people actually killed during the civil rights movement. I had no idea about it, and I
They
always
won't
pride
speak on that.
myself.
They speak on the civil rights, the writers and stuff like that. But wow,
Yeah, but you never, I did not know about Harry and Harriet Moore. I was not aware of it. Like I said, I always prided myself about knowing my culture, knowing the history and stuff like that. But I felt that it was important to do this one now. And this particular circumstance, this case will never get solved because all of the parties involved are dead, even the suspects and stuff like that, like they're all dead. But I still felt that it was important to bring this story to light because it's not it's just you didn't know about them. A lot of people didn't know about them. Some people, I'm pretty sure some people probably do, but I was like, yeah, we're gonna do this one.
Can you get a little bit into that story though? Because actually, you got me right there. Like from what
So
I
yeah,
thought I know.
so it was this couple, this black couple, named the Moores. Their house was bombed on Christmas Day, which also was their wedding anniversary. So they were celebrating their wedding anniversary and Christmas on the day, and there it was a bomb placed under the floor joist of their bedroom and blew up. The explosion killed Harry on the way to the hospital. His wife died 9 days later. She was alive to see her husband buried, and then she died after that. You know, so this was like 1951, and they pretty much suspect. When you look back in retrospect, the information that they had was enough to make an arrest, was enough to charge someone and to take them to trial, but they didn't. But it's 1951 in the South in Florida. You know what I mean? So what you're going to hear in this episode is basically what made them a target. What Why was they a target by the Klan for a bomb to be placed in their home to be blown up? And this is that correlates to the civil rights movement. So you'll hear me make the connection with them and the civil rights movement and put it all together on why they should be acknowledged and why the civil rights movement should be considered early 50s and not the mid 1950s, because civil rights movement for most starts in the mid 1950s up to the late 1960s, but this, you got to go back further. You got to go back to 1951. So
Well, that's when it was like it was a movement. It was televised, but it started something sparked that even. I feel.
yeah, yeah. And this was a big deal. It was a big deal. It was called the bomb heard around the world. It was a big deal. You had a lot of black celebrities back then who got involved, and Langston Hughes wrote a poem about it. It was deep. Yeah. So, and I'm like, I never heard of this. I'm like, when I was going through my rites of passage, they didn't even tell us about this. So yeah, yeah. So
Yeah,
that's
but
just
I was saying, could you blame them? Did they even know?
oh, I
Mm.
mean, it, possibly not.
Or not knew it in detail to even teach. You
Right?
know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And we do, what I've been doing is taking cases that are historic like that one, taking cases that made national headlines. And what I think is the great thing about the way this podcast is done is that when something happens, like the Kanika Jenkins, that's one of the episodes. The young girl that was seen on video. Matter of fact, I think she was in one of the trailers. When I made one of the trailers, I put that in there. You'll hear the entire story from beginning to end on what actually happened. And then, I may address some of the rumors, but everything in there is not like speculative, like, oh, this is what they think. This is what I heard, or she was actually killed, and blah 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 blah. You know how just different things be happening. Now
Yeah.
this is just actual fact from the police report, from the family, from this and from that. Now again, we may address some of the rumors that was swirling, but you know, in that particular case, I refer to it as a mysterious death because I can't say for a fact that she was murdered. I can't say for a fact that it was an accident. So
Absolutely.
I've worded that way. We're doing Kendrick Johnson. We're doing that story. I don't know if you remember him. The
Johnson, George Johnson. What? Just tell me what area?
Atlanta in Georgia. He was wrapped up in a mat. They found his body wrapped up in a mat.
Had the young black male.
Yep.
His organs were not in his body.
Yep.
Um, they questioned the FBI agent's child.
Uh, one of the one of the kids that he had a conflict with, because we do dive into that he had a conflict with. Father he was on the county or the FBI. I have to go back to the story, but yeah, we do address that. We talk about that too. Yeah, so that's one of the
Which
cases.
that is a perfect case because when it came out, he was in the mat. That was it. That
Hmm.
should have been pretty much open and shut in a school, right?
And yep, and you would think that it'd be open and shut. And what the crazy part about this is when I was doing this research and I'm listening and I'm reading the explanation, you go on a roller coaster because you be like, when I'm sitting there, I'm like, they found a brother rolled up in a mat. Somebody murdered him. And then when you start reading, you're like, oh, maybe it was an accident. Then you get to another part, like, nah, somebody killed him. But that could have been an accident. But so it that case
Yeah,
takes you on a roller coaster because it's not as clear cut as it sounds. So when you hear us do that story, you're gonna be kind of like, somebody killed him. Wait a minute, might not. Maybe somebody didn't kill him. Maybe somebody did. Maybe somebody didn't. So it's because that's the emotions that I was getting. I was getting angry. Then I was like, what? Then I was confused, and I was like, what? So, but
yeah, you got me sold because I need that roller coaster right now. Like everything is so mundane right now, so predictable,
mhm.
and that's the type of thing that I want to see brought back though. It's part of the reason why I do podcasts and stuff like that too now, just because of freedom of expression, and running into people, knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Like I absorb every chance I get. I try to absorb everything. And for you to tell me that about that story, because it was already a roller coaster from the gate. But now
Right,
when you add details in there and certain things, though, like I don't think my heart could take it.
right, yeah. It was just kind of like it seemed like it was a very open and shut case, and then you start reading the details. You're like, whoa, see, I didn't know that.
That is crazy. Can you tell us where you can find and actually listen to your podcast, File 13 and everything?
Yep. Right now there's no episodes. There's only maybe some audio trailers, but anywhere you listen to podcasts, all you do is type in File 13. So if you have Pandora, iHeart, Spotify, Amazon, anywhere you listen to podcasts, just type in File 13. It should pop up. And make sure that you hit follow. And after the first episode, give us a 5 star.
All right, absolutely. And I definitely will. You don't want to push this to the wheels fall off. And that's another thing too. I appreciate you coming on here because I know you're gonna put it in the right place. Like it's countless episodes where it's like being kicking a dead horse. Like I'm doing this, doing that. It's a great episode. All right, now it's only great if I share it. Like we're
Right.
supposed to actually mingle and get each other's followers and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But it's a certain thing like, oh, I did this and that was my job. But thinking about that as like if my life depended on it, I would suck for the simple fact like it's really far in between where people have enough gravity to pull people like guests and
Hmm.
stuff like that, which I do interesting episodes and stuff like that, talk about what people want to talk about. But as far as people having some substance and actually we building together, like doing shows together and stuff like that, it's far and in between.
Once
Like,
we get you, when you ready to expand, you let me know. I have voice actors and actresses. We create you a commercial
hey,
for
we
the
talked
people.
about this, and yeah, I was like, okay. Well, when I'm ready now.
Okay.
And then we get into details and everything. What I want to do with this one, I want to put the file 13 as the thumbnail. Maybe that'll work. you know, um,
Yeah.
you
But
know
yeah,
what?
we can once we done, we can off here we can talk. We can set up a time where we can discuss on getting you on other platforms
In that
and
part too. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
get you on our platforms. Get a I have a few actors and actresses that I can reach out to and create a script for you. We'll sit down, create the script. What do you want it to say? We're going to keep it between um 30 seconds into a minute and stuff like that. I've been collaborating with a lot of people with this. I'm part of this group called Soulchestra, where we help cultivate young R&B artists and stuff like that. We getting ready to go on. Getting ready to do a tour, kind of like in the Metro Detroit area and stuff like that. And so, sometimes as I'm working, I'm listening to these local artists, their music and their albums and stuff like that. And it's just one song I just completely fell in love with. And so I just went to her and I said, I need a script from you. Send it to my email, send it to 513. The artist's mother sent me the script and I literally created an ad and I sent it right back to him. I said, I'm putting this on my podcast and I say, here is the actual audio. Y'all use it how y'all see fit. I hit up one of my voice actresses. I was like, I created the script she sent me. I condensed it and then I sent it to my voice actress. She was like, okay, I need to hear her music. So I need to kind of get into the mode.
Absolutely.
So I let her hear the music. She was like, okay. She hit the script. It was perfect. Sent it back. I threw her music behind it and boom, like that. And I sent it back to them and they loved it. And I was like, I'm running this on my podcast here and y'all can have it, use it wherever you see fit.
All right. So before we dip out of here, I got a question for you specifically.
Okay.
You do a lot of stuff with your phone. So I have to ask this question. I'm biased. I know my opinion. Team iPhone or Android?
Android. The stuff that I do, you can't do it. The stuff that I be doing on my phone,
Okay.
you ain't gonna be able to do it with an
Okay.
iPhone.
All right. I'm team Android. I'm team Android myself. So
And you
yeah.
probably could. It's just a little bit more. The iPhone is a little bit more restrictive with things that you can do and stuff like that. I be needing it just be too restrictive. Stuff that I be doing, I be my mind be going, I'll be like, oh, I need this, I need to add this to it. iPhone be like, you need to subscribe to iTunes in order to download this and blah blah blah. It took me forever to even get the podcast on Apple. It was just it was so complicated. They made it so complicated just to do that. And I'm just like, oh, I'm just like, when I wanted it on iHeart or Pandora, I created my account and it was like, paste the RSS feed. I pasted, boom, welcome, here's your podcast. Apple was like, we need your credit card. We need you. So I
And then
created
in
the
the
account.
clouds.
Yeah. And then I created the account and then I tried to log in. They told me my password was wrong. I was like, how? I said, I literally just created this account. And it's the same password that I use for all across mine, but it's hard to hack. So
Hey, but one thing I will say, I've had an iPad mini for over 5 years and the motherfucker's still going.
I don't think I got it. I had an iPhone for one of my last job, but it was a company property, but everything around I got the flip. That's what I'm doing right now is on the flip, but everything in here, even from my microphones, I had went and got these. You took the microphone.
Yeah, that's crazy.
This is the actual mic, but because can't soundproof my entire room, I use that and that. So
And where do you find these type of things?
This is the pop filter. So when you hear it, it won't be popping. And I just put it over the microphone like that. So when I'm doing a podcast, I just do it that way. So
right.
it's really like the studio, the soundproof studio inside the microphone.
I literally have a microphone that looked like something Ray Charles singing. Motherfucker heavy, picks up everything though. Georgia, my electric bill went up since I started trying to use it.
Get you one of those. Go on Amazon, get you one of those. I'll send
Yeah,
you a
I'm gonna
link.
do that. Yeah, send me a link and I'm gonna upload this and this has been awesome, man. This is better than what I expected. Even
I
without
appreciate
the
it.
the file 13, like because I was like, no, I can't do, just you're like, I'm a perfectionist. I'm like, I can't let this ride. I'm sorry, I can't.
The music, what do you think about the theme music that you be hearing? Does it sound creepy?
It's the you know what though? It goes with the words though. It gets you to thinking like true crime stuff, like the way
My
they give it
homeboy
to
made
you.
that. My homeboy made that. That's file 13 music. That's our music. That's our theme song. I hit up one of my homeboys. I shot him out on every episode as well. Sapiano Sounds. He makes amazing music. And I hit him up. I was like, "This is what I got going on. I need something that sounds suspenseful and creepy." He was like, "I got you." Sent it to it. I was like, "Perfect." I sent it to the team. They was like, "Oh my god, this is great." So yeah, everything is just it's everything that you'll see and everything that you'll hear is just it's a family. It's everybody. We all know each other. We all work together. It's people that I know. I'm reaching out to people that I know directly
I got
to
a
make
lot
them
of
a
work
part of
ahead of
this.
me. I got a lot of work ahead of me, man, because right now at this moment it's just me.
Yeah,
I
and
got
it
I
could
got
be
a lot
tough.
of work, and that's why I ask questions too. Because first and foremost, I thought everybody, but everybody has lives too. You covered everything during this episode. Everybody got lives, stuff to do, and stuff like that. Like,
Hmm.
and then your free time isn't anybody else's free time.
Exactly.
You know,
So because they're doing me this favor, I don't put pressure on them or anything like that. But we all work together very well. One of you remember the case, Shaquana Robinson, the young girl that went to Mexico and was beaten by her so-called friends and was killed down there in Mexico.
that's recent though, right?
Shanquella, yeah,
She
Shanquella
was she
Robinson.
was the only black person at the party. Is that
No, no,
her?
no, no. This was they went down to Mexico for a party, just to hang out with friends and stuff like that. I guess they went on a trip, and
Hmm.
there's a video of her being attacked by her friends, and she was killed down there in Mexico. She went down there with five of her friends, and they basically beat her and killed her. You ain't hear about this? This was all over social media.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if I look into it, I'd probably be refreshed about it.
Yeah, you will see it. But one of my team members, her mentor knows the family directly. So we reached out to see because it hit national news. We're talking this was on CNN, this was on every news station. It hit national news, but it dies down. But they're still fighting the fight locally, So yeah, it's out of the national spotlight, out of the ears of the people. But we're reached out to the family to see if they want us to maybe do an episode on that to give it oxygen. And I always say that when I'm talking to people about why I do this and what I'm doing is to give these stories oxygen. Because if you have a fire and you
And
cut oxygen off,
oxygen is going to fuel it.
yep, you need oxygen to fuel the fire. But if you cut the oxygen off, it dies out. So that's what I consider myself doing is, giving these stories oxygen to get back out into the public.
Absolutely.
I already know what episodes I got for season two. I'm working on episodes for season two, but I'm gonna give everybody a break. Everybody relax. Everybody chill. We'll let the episodes play out for the next couple months, and then I'll get back started maybe sometime this summer.
That's actually amazing. This won't be the last episode we do
Oh,
because
definitely not.
I'm going to be watching some episodes, and I'm going to personally. I feel like I'm entitled to be like, so what about this one? And this happened? Like I'm like that person too. Like I'm like the person like, oh wow. And this is unnoticed. Nobody said anything. They don't sweep
Right.
this under the rug. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
And that's how Bam is. She'd be like, "What?" She'd be like, "Wait a minute." She'd be like, "No, no, no." I just like relax. I had to coach her, but she be getting a little bit heated real quick. But
yeah, as people do though, and should though. You know,
she'll be jumping ahead. She'll jump ahead because when I write the script, it's in chronological order the way things happen. But some things that she be want to know, but like it's in there just a little bit later. Yeah, I just got to get to that point.
right. Yeah, 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 I see what you're saying. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's the best way
Hmm.
to keep it though. I was thinking about it, but nah, because I
All
mean,
right.
I still got some work to do. It might turn some personal.
We'll have you. I'm gonna have you on for season two, man. For season two, I'm gonna bring you on to one of the episodes, and we'll record the episode.
All right, cool. And then anytime you want to anything on the right anything anytime, I got you.
Okay, and then we'll work on the People's Podcast marketing because I'm marketing. That's my thing is marketing. I can market the hell out of something. So we'll work on marketing and getting you out there and you let me know what your goal is, what you want to do, and then we can go about it that way.
Absolutely, 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 man. And my thing is, though, I want to go about it the way you do, the right way, the correct
Whatever
way.
way you do, this way works for me. But
Well, I can't be out here bullshitting and be like stand on what I say, and ain't nobody from the, you know what I'm saying? Like I got to go about it right. I got to cross my T's and dot my I's as well. You know?
yeah, yeah. And progression will come because I know I'm probably making some errors that I just can't see right now. But again, that's why in my podcast at the end I always say, I give everyone the email address. Let us know how we're doing. What do you like? What do you don't like? What do you want to hear more of? And stuff like that. So give them direct access to us.
All right, and that's a good point. And I'll start this out at dooleyharris@gmail.com. Anything I can work on, I'm always here to take advice and listen to things. And all criticism is not negative, so I'm here.
Right. So I guess I'll do my plug. Um, File 13, True Crime, Unsolved Murders in Black America. You can find it anywhere you listen to podcasts. Um, if you have any ideas, if there's any cases that you may want us to, our team to look at, you can just email us at the file13@gmail.com. And what we say in file 13 is a cold case is not a closed case.
Absolutely. And then with that being said, this been great. I'm gonna upload this, and nobody died during the process of this podcast, so we all right. We on a good path.
Yeah, we'll come back. We'll come back after the season starts.
All
We
right,
can and we can
definitely, definitely.
and we can chop it up on about some of the episodes.
Right, and also I need to book in advance further, like you did. Like, okay, February 7th. It wasn't even February when we talked about it, so that's something I
You
should get
see,
into.
yeah, exactly. So you see how I kind of do it. Like
Yeah,
I plan
yeah,
weeks ahead because I
definitely.
got another podcast I got to go on. So this is the promo run. So it's like everything is out in advance. I'm like thinking so far ahead because I
This
want to
is
be able to relax when the season starts.
And I want to actually watch it myself. You know what I'm saying? Like with any episode, like, all right, it's gonna pop up though. It's gonna show up. Like, I don't have to worry about, oh, will I be able to put it out? You know what I'm saying? Like, because I might have to work or something like that. Like, I might be doing
Mhm.
some dealing with something and stuff like that.
But yeah,
Um,
so we'll on March 11th. So the day that the first episode drops, the day that first episode drops, that Saturday, I'm actually gonna go live that day. It'll drop at midnight on the
what
11th.
day? On the 11th? Okay,
Yeah, that's a
okay.
Saturday. It'll drop, and probably in the afternoon or the evening that day, I'll be promoting it, and I'll let people know that I'm going live. So make sure you catch the episode, and then hit me up, and we can chop it up with the fans.
Oh, most definitely. I'm gonna upload this. You know where it's going first and foremost. As soon as it get done, just to say like this is very masterful, professional, uh, great genes, great minds. I'll say that. But most definitely, man, it's been a pleasure. Always a pleasure, though. Also, and I mean, like anybody that can teach me anything, they're very valuable to me.
Absolutely, we can always learn from each other.
Absolutely. So this is what it is. Great show. And we're gonna
All
end it
right,
at that.
all right. Thanks for having me on.
All right. Thank you for coming.
All right.
All right.